Nate Lorenzen? Do you go by Nate?
I go by Nate.
Okay.
Or Nathan.
Both?
Or Mr. Lorenzen is fine.
Oh, Mr. Lorenzen, welcome to the podcast. My apologies, sir. No,
it doesn't matter.
what's your claim to fame here in Dayton? And
I guess why I'm here is the tulip farm. So, I've worked for a bank, make a living. But yeah, the tulip farm is the claim to fame.
Claim to fame.
Yes.
How long has it been around?
So we started the farm in 2015.
Okay.
Started as a strawberry farm, and then it kind of adapted into flowers, and then finally landed on tulips. So monocrop tulips, and then we do a little wildflower field in the summertime. But
You started off with flower. What was the first thing you farmed, I guess?
okay, so strawberries. So
Hang on. How does a banker find himself to be a farmer? Maybe that's the better question.
all right, so well, I was just making so much money, I just had to find a way to go broke.
Is that what it was to go broke?
No, I have always enjoyed. I'll take you back into a little bit of history, and I hope I don't say anything that embarrasses myself or my wife. She's really nervous about this podcast, just because I can sometimes go a little.
You can kind of ramble.
I can kind of ramble. No, we started in 2015 because I've always had an affinity towards agriculture, towards gardening, towards getting my hands dirty. Just loved it. On a side note, there's a bacteria in the soil that like elevates your serotonin levels if you get your hands
Really?
dirty. Yeah, did you know that?
And it gets in through your skin
Yeah, it's like under your fingernails.
Yeah.
So you can get like dopamine hits.
by gardening.
Yeah,
But people wear gloves.
I don't.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice. Because
No.
of that?
Yeah.
Nice. For the dopamine, he's out there. We know
That's
what you're
right.
doing, Mr. Lorenzen.
No, but that's true. So yeah, there's something about working in the soil and getting dirty that really it kind of eases, any anxiety, which I don't really have anxiety, but except this time of the year when we're, about to maybe open for tulips because anything can happen right now. But I started farming, my wife did, and I, 2015, strawberries because I just like strawberries and I wanted to farm something. So we bought some land that was behind us, 26 acres, and it came up for sale. We decided to go ahead and buy it. Didn't really know what we were going to do. I mean, we had an idea we were going to farm something. And, just got on the YouTubes and I thought, well, strawberries do real well in this town. Mm-hmm. I thought maybe we can do some strawberries.
I mean, historically.
Yeah.
Strawberry Festival.
Right.
Yeah.
And, of course, there was another strawberry farmer in town that everybody loved, Tidwell's.
So did that ruffle any feathers?
I mean, it didn't ruffle mine, and I don't think we weren't big enough to compete to them, but they were so well branded. I think people kind of took a skeptical eye towards,
Your off-brand strawberries.
Yeah. So
grown
it
in
was
who knows what
right.
dopamine soil.
Yes. So you don't know, so it was a little bit hard to hustle strawberries
Yeah.
for the first couple of years, but we finally got a following. We got this Facebook, and I mean, I was sitting in back of my car trying to, peddle strawberry boxes.
Like trunk,
yeah,
selling strawberries.
and nobody was buying them.
Where would you go to
Well,
sell
I went up to
strawberries?
Spring City and went to George Thacker's hotel out there. He said, "Yeah, you can sell some of the strawberries out there."
Oh, cool.
I was like, "Cool," but then nobody bought them. But that was our first business model, was kind of your traditional commercial farming. I didn't have workers that were coming to pick. I was picking. Mm-hmm. And I kind of knew after a couple of years, this probably isn't going to work out, because I said, okay, I'm going to pick as many strawberries as I possibly can as quick as I can. in an hour, and I want to see how quick, how good I can get. Now I had my kids working. We had hired some high school students to come help. So we had some folks that were helping, and I picked 7 gallons in an hour. And after that hour, I thought, that's just really not enough.
Yeah. Wait a second.
Yeah. And, Kristen picking, my wife, another, 7 gallons. So we decided to change the model to a U-Pick.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll offer it as U-Pick, and that was really good. That was successful. A lot of people came. It was a pick your own. But you have to be a special person to come and pick strawberries because, it's a little bit hotter outside. It takes, you have to want to do this activity. But we had some good response.
Well, and at that point, you're selling the experience more than the strawberries.
Yeah. And the strawberries were good. They were fabulous. I loved them.
Sure, yeah. But the person that's coming out to do a U-Pick, I mean, they're definitely coming for the strawberries, but if you just wanted strawberries, you probably wouldn't do that.
Right. So Kristen she enjoyed farming the strawberries, but she really wanted to do flowers. So we thought, well, you know what, we'll add some flowers in the mix. So she did, all the typical flowers that flower farmers do. And we had planted some tulips, but I buried them real deep in heavy clay soil and they never came up. And I was like, well, I don't know if that's going to work out. So we tried it again next year. We were still doing strawberries. She was adding more and more flowers. It was really hard doing strawberries, cut flowers. We were both working full-time jobs. I mean, I still am. She was too. And it was just like, this is a lot of work. So we thought, well, maybe we just need to stick with one variety of flower. She saw a Facebook post on the YouTubes, and it was the Facebook.
Mm-hmm. It was the Facebook.
Yeah, it was a relative of hers who went to a tulip farm, and she thought, okay, well, we can do tulips. Mm-hmm. This is a thing, apparently. And had no idea. This was 4 years ago. So we ordered 20,000 tulip bulbs. And
you had done a few. You had just said that you had tried. You had planted some a little too deep.
Yeah.
This is before the 20.
Yeah. They didn't come up. But we did a few more the next year.
Okay.
And they came up just fine. I didn't.
Okay.
I properly sized them in the soil.
So then you ordered 20. Did you say 20,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we just thought, no one's going to come to a U-Pick tulip farm for 1,000.
A few dozen.
You gotta have at least something worth seeing. Mm-hmm. And so we had strawberries on one side of the field. We had tulips on the other. And then this is how I'm leading how we ended up going all to tulips. So we had both crops, and the tulips did phenomenal, and then the strawberries started producing. So we sold everything out on the tulips. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was like carpet bombed the field.
Meaning all picked.
They were all picked.
Gone.
Yeah, I mean down to the last little tiny smidgen.
Tulips or bulbs, so those are going to come up the next day too, or not the next year.
No, well, you don't reuse the tulip bulbs in the ground. You have to order new ones every year. We're not conducive. This area is not conducive for the tulips to properly split. Now, ours are cut, so the tulip flower is picked. If I were to leave the tulip flower on the bulb and let it nourish the sister bulbs underneath, then you get a cold enough winter. And some people do have tulips coming back. I think you said you do. You get tulips that come back every year.
Yeah, I have a perennial.
Yeah, you can. But ours are picked.
So if it's picked, does the bulb die?
Well, the bulb doesn't have anything feeding that new tulip. So there's you got a tulip that opens up. Its whole purpose is to attract the butterfly or the bee. Mm-hmm. And then what happens when the butterfly or the bee comes, it it grabs the pollen, it mixes all that stuff around in there. Kind of like what you were told by your father when you were, 12 years old.
Literally birds and the bees. Yeah.
And then that tulip dies. It's all flowers. That's the whole purpose, is to attract the insects so that they can repopulate and offer another generation of beauty.
So does that mean, I know some perennials, it's the same plant. In the case of tulips, so it gets fertilized to split off into a new bulb, and that new bulb is what comes back up?
Yes, it's a new bulb that comes back up.
I did not know
It's
that.
not the big.
So the old bulb is like,
it just turns to mush, dies off.
wow.
And then you may get 2 or 3 sister bulbs attaching to the bottom of that, and then those grow up. And after a year or 2 or whatever that cycle is, they'll produce nice flowers.
That's kind of a long time.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I'm not 100% an expert, but I know kind of the basics.
Yeah.
I don't know how much time it takes, but I figure it's probably a season or 2.
Okay, so not perennial, although that technically is possible, but for your purposes, you plant them, they grow, you cut them.
Well, they are picked. Yep.
They are picked, which is different than cut.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, picked, bulb comes out.
No, not necessarily.
Can you explain to me the difference between picked and cut?
Well, a cut flower, so like the tulips you don't bring scissors and cut the bottom of the tulip stem.
Okay.
All the customers will come out to the field and just go reach as far down as they can and just snap it off the bulb.
Is that better for some reason?
No, it's just because the bulbs you can't pull the bulb up in some cases. In some cases, the bulb, if they're planted a little bit more shallow, it will come up.
And I've seen stores sell tulips on the bulb. I assume that's because they'll keep better, longer in a vase or something.
I think it's just a novelty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the benefit of on the bulb is
well,
not great.
I guess it technically will last in a vase longer if it's on the bulb, as opposed to if you cut it. But you still get a week to 10 days of flower life when you pick a tulip.
So it's not even that much anyway.
No. Yeah, I think it's just...
So they're plucking from the bulb. Why not? You just don't want scissors out in the field? Or
yeah, I don't
liability
know.
Or
having a few hundred little kids running around with scissors on my farm.
Good point. So picked, not cut.
Yeah. So we had these 2 crops going back to the history.
Right. Yeah.
These 2 crops. Everybody came for tulips. It was fabulous. And then we had a crop of strawberries coming. And I thought, well, the you pick strawberry thing did pretty well for the last couple of years. It'll do really well. Well, it did. We had so many people come when we opened up for strawberries that it was pretty. I didn't like it. They were all picked like right away within 30 minutes of opening. All my strawberries were gone, and I had people waiting in line. And I had more people coming through the gates.
Oh, no.
I know. And I had to tell everybody, sorry, we're sold out. And they're like, well, we drove, an hour and a half. So it was after that moment that I went ahead and shut the farm down. Like, I just said, sold out. We don't have any more strawberries. And I just let them all die on the vine.
Because, well, hang on. In my opinion, sold out sounds good.
Yeah.
Why'd you let them die on the vine?
Because I didn't want to have people driving an hour and a half. Because I don't know when they're going to sell out when I open those gates. But when you have 15, 20 cars waiting in line to pick, and then they go in there like locusts, they just take everything, which is what I want. That's good. I want them to take the strawberries.
Yeah.
I just didn't have enough for them.
So just plant more strawberries.
Okay, so you can, but the work is much more labor intensive on strawberries. I've got to run plastic in the field. I've got to drip irrigate, fertilize. I have to... watch out for crows. I have to.
Crows love strawberries.
Yeah, it's just, and then you're pulling plastic up at the end of the season.
What do you do with all that plastic?
I take it to the convenience center. It just gets dumped.
Yeah. So you were faced with, okay, we just sold out really quickly. Yeah. I either need to plant a ton of strawberries. Right. Or just not offer that because it's not working in the scale that we have. Right. Okay, I understand. So and your decision was no strawberries.
No strawberries. So then we just focused on tulips. And then, and that's, it took about 7 years for the farm really to be profitable. And it was after we started in focusing on one thing. for us that it started to make a little bit more sense. And then we just went straight tulips. And now we planted 150,000. So that's what we got in the ground for picking coming up this year. And then
150,000 bulbs.
Yeah.
And you order those every year?
We order the bulbs every year, yeah.
Well, how many did you plant last year?
100,000.
And the year before that?
60. And then 20 before that is when we started.
Whoa, 20 to 60 is a big jump.
Yeah.
That's 3 times.
Yeah. At 20,000, they were gone. And then 60,000, now they're not gone. But I don't want people coming to the field when there's like only 20% left of a crop. I want the last customer.
Because that experience is not good.
I want the last customer to experience what feels like a full field. So you could pick, 30% of the field, 40% of the field, which is a lot of tulips, and it's going to look nice all the way to the end. And
so you want what percentage, ideally in your business mind, what percentage of tulips are still flowered?
Probably 50%.
Half? Wow, That's incredible. And that's just the cost of the aesthetic of the farm from people's experience. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I know that at the end of the season, sometimes with pickup, you get people to come out and help get rid of all the old bulbs or something like that.
We have in the past. I don't know if we're going to do it this year because we're going to be out of town at that time, I think. But we have done a dig day where they can pay $10 and dig up as many bulbs as they want, as many as they can. Yeah. Physically labor, and they'll get 5-gallon buckets. And we have folks who reach back out to us and say they're doing well, they're growing well,
and they're coming up.
I just don't know. You don't know which ones are the non-picked bulbs, which ones were picked as far as the tulip, because I think that's going to affect the bulb performance when you.
That makes sense.
But there's enough out there that.
Just the odds are you'll hit. Yeah. Well, if it's 50% of the field left, then it's roughly 50-50. Yep. And maybe a corner that was left or something like that. You can try to dig around there. That's cool.
Yeah.
So now that you have... Let's talk about last year.
Last year.
Like, you planted, did you say 100?
100,000.
100,000 bulbs. You had day one. What is that like? What is day one on the tulip farm? Is there a day one?
Day one of planting or day one
of the public?
Oh, the public. Okay. So it gets a little nerve-wracking. Right now I'm in the nervous stage.
Yeah, you mentioned that. So let's talk about that. What are you, you're laying down in bed and you're like, oh no.
Right.
What is it? What are the things you're worried about?
Okay. So, the things that I'm worrying about. And when I get nervous, I get massive nosebleeds. When my wife gets nervous, she throws up. It's a bloody mess at our house right now.
Y'all are actually like bleeding nose and throw up? Actually?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, is that happening? You're so chill. You seem so chill. Do you get full of nerves?
Well, I do. My wife more than myself. But it's because right now we're at the stage where, a fungus could come in there and destroy the crop. Rainy, cold weather. It could come in there and destroy the crop. Now, I'm doing what I can. I spray an organic fungicide to kind of keep a copper-based, which they kind of keep the fungus at bay if there is any. I don't know if there's any out there, but you just try to...
You don't want to find out.
Yeah, you just want to manage it. Deer could come in there and just clean us out. Or, we don't have any wild pigs, but good grief, what if a pack of wild hogs come in there and just root everything up?
Do deer... I guess wild hogs are a rooting animal, so that's perfect. And I guess deer like tulips.
I had a month ago I've never seen deer do this because I've been battling deer for 8 years now. They're my white whale. Call me Ishmael.
Yeah.
So I actually had the deer digging. I've seen the marks of deer digging in my rows to uproot my bulbs.
Now, are they wanting to eat them or take them home?
Them. No, they're eating them. They're not planting them. Yeah, they're eating them.
I guess they just must be delicious. I mean, it's a big, moist...
Well, you can eat a tulip bulb.
Humans can?
Humans can eat them. Humans can eat every part of the tulip.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I like to forage. So
Yeah.
that this kind of thing goes ding, and
Yeah.
like makes me excited. Like, would you eat it like a potato or something, or a leek, or I wonder what it would be
What
like.
it would taste like? Probably maybe like a leek. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't die from it.
Right. And it wouldn't typically wouldn't upset someone's stomach. It's edible, meaning it's.
You won't have an accident in your pants and forget who you are for 30 seconds. You actually, you can eat them without any upset stomach. Yeah.
Well, I say that because in the foraging nomenclature, there's a difference between non-toxic and edible.
Right.
Like, you can eat cardboard.
You're not going to.
Cardboard is not edible.
Right. You're not going to end up like the guy from, that went and hiked up to Alaska and got in the school bus and then,
that guy.
It's not gonna, You're not going to have those effects.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Into the Wild. That was a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the deer are pawing at the ground.
Hoofing
at the ground.
Yes. They're biting my tulips, my wife's tulips, I should actually say. They're biting her tulips. And then when they're done with the tops of them, they are sharpening their hooves and digging into the soil to get at what's left, the bulbs. So we've got 4 or 5 patches in there right now. They're about that big that they've just scooped the dirt out. And I know it's deer because the deer prints are all over it, and there's no other animal prints.
I know a lot of people around here that would love to take care of that problem.
Well, we do that as much as we can, but you can't be out there at 3 a.m. typically.
No.
You don't know. The deer are pretty smart.
So they're sneaky about it.
Yeah, they're sneaky little. Yeah. And so they're going to avoid when they think you're going to be out there. Yeah. But I've got a fence. The only reason they were getting in there is because they breached my fence. So I've got a large, pretty sophisticated fencing system.
Nice.
That I've worked on for 8 years. And it's like 3 layers. It's high, but they'll analyze it and they'll look at it and they'll say this guy.
They take pictures and measurements and they go back to.
And then they'll just say, this guy's a sucker. And then they'll just find it and they'll just get right in. And then I have to fix it and repair it.
I was reading a book by Michael Pollan. Do you know who that is? Omnivore's Dilemma. Really well published foodie. So like a lot of people have read. And it's not just food. It's like gardening and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's like a New York City type guy who's like trying to reconnect with the roots of food. Something like that, let's say. Mm-hmm. And he wrote this book on gardening, and the opening chapter is awesome because he opens with his ideal garden. He's like, I'd like just this beautiful, like fences are ugly, and I just want it to integrate naturally with the landscape, and on like basically as soon as he plants anything, the groundhogs are eating everything. Yeah. So his descent into madness is like kind of how he describes it.
Yeah,
where like,
it is.
At first, he's like, look, a beautiful groundhog. It's so cute. And by the end of the chapter, he's literally filling the hole with gasoline.
Yeah, I know.
It's really funny how some of the there's a different relationship with nature that you have when you're actually trying to grow something.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden the cute deer and the cute groundhogs and the cute rabbits look a lot different.
Yeah. Yeah, they create a challenge.
So you were just... Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So your worries, fungus, deer.
Yep.
What else is making your nose bleed?
That's really about it now.
Okay, good.
When I was farming strawberries, my wife and I, when I say I mean my wife and I,
yes.
Of course, but she's not here. So, when I was farming strawberries, it was having enough for the customers. That was a worry. Mm-hmm. I said, now with tulips, I don't have that worry. I've got plenty. I'll not run out. So yeah, that's it. Is just getting us through this couple of weeks until we open, and I know everything is good. Mm-hmm. And then then it is fun, but it's still pretty stressful because we have a lot of people that come out, and it's managing that. And But I love it. I mean, I love everybody. Everybody that comes out there is awesome. We love talking with them, and they're sharing their stories of the previous experiences they've had, and kind of building a tradition.
Of coming out to the farm.
Yeah.
Do you have a day already in mind of
We're thinking
when the gate comes up?
Yeah, we're thinking March 9th is going to be the opening weekend.
How do you know? When are you able to set the date? Is it when the tulips have reached a certain?
We'll open it when when the field is about 30% in bloom.
Okay.
So, they don't all just pop up like in one day. It's like a wave. So it crests and then goes back down. So when we're about 30% in the bloom is when we open, and we let everybody know that this is what the
You're
field
putting
looks
it out
like
on Facebook. And, yeah.
This is what it looks like. If you want to wait till peak when the majority of them are all blooming, then you might want to wait another week, or you just come back.
Does that help with that rush? Because strawberries are just ready.
No, people.
So day one, assuming you open on March 9th,
Okay.
what does that day look like to you?
So that's a Saturday, and it's a nice weather day.
Okay.
That's another. Well, that is another.
I'm sure that's a worry. And it's so out of your
Because
control.
if it's raining, nobody's coming. I'm just out there in the fields.
But that's okay. They'll come. It's a wave. It's not one day.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but that would suck.
You hope that every weekend's not rainy. Although we're open all week. We're open all day. Well, all week long. But people are working. Then we don't get the public out there like we do on the weekend.
Yeah.
But so we open the gate, and the cars. We got a nice little parking area. They'll come in. They pay the admission. It's $5 admission, and then we have baskets for them. They'll grab a basket, and they'll wander and do whatever they want to do and enjoy their time. Once they pick the bouquets that they want, the flowers that they want, they'll bring them back to our wrapping station, where we have several people that will take their flowers, trim the bulbs off if some of them came up, just kind of clean them up, wrap them, and then...
Is it just the admission fee, or then do they pay per?
Yes, they pay per stem.
Per stem.
Yep.
So that's good. So $5 just to get in. So
Yep.
if you just want to walk around,
You just want to walk around, take pictures.
$5.
5 beans.
Yep. And then per stem.
It's a
so
cheap
that seems
date.
it really is. That's yeah. And then you can buy any minimum stems, one stem.
Oh, I don't care what you buy.
So one stem on your way out. Okay.
You don't have to buy any stems.
Yeah.
You can just come and enjoy the field, and that's why we didn't do an admission fee at first, but that's why we kind of had to do that, because we had a lot of people that were just taking pictures, and I mean a lot of people, and then just leaving, and I can't start my tractor up on that, so I have to ensure at least we have something so we can pay for next year's crop.
I'm sure no one has balked at $5.
They have not. Well, one individual kind of did.
So one of
I don't know, 30,000.
That's good.
So
that's pretty good.
yeah,
I'd say that's a fine price
Yeah.
if it's one of 30,000.
yeah.
And day one, is there still a line and stuff? Or are you able to pretty much get everyone parked now, and plenty of tulips, obviously?
Yep.
And
I handle parking.
okay.
That's my favorite job. So I direct traffic in and out, and sometimes I'll have one of my sons do it as well with me, because if there's 2 people doing it, it works out better. And then we usually have 4 or 5 individuals who are wrapping. So we've got one. You come in, pay the admission fee. So we got that. Go out, take your time, come back. We usually have 4 or 5 individuals wrapping. So there usually is a line. On a weekend, it may be 10, 15 people in line, but because we've got so many people wrapping, sometimes we'll throw a 6th person in there if it gets backed up. The flow is good. And no one's ever complained about that. I mean, yeah, when we did the 20,000, it was just my wife out there, and she was the only worker, and she was wrapping, and I mean, there were like 50 people waiting in line, but everyone was nice. Everyone was
great.
understood and was just helpful, and one lady, I think, even came around and helped her kind of wrap and
yeah, nice.
yeah. So the community has been awesome.
Let's talk about that. So, like, what's it like running this business in Ray County? Why is doing this here so good?
So, I mean, obviously the people in Ray County and East Tennessee are awesome people. You know, it's they support local businesses like this. They don't have. I mean, just in my experience that I've been there, I mean, I've never seen a rude customer. I mean, I know that happens. I mean, I've been in retail and I know that, you know, there can be some issues, but I mean, I don't think anybody's stolen anything. Not that I've seen or watched for, but I mean, everybody's just, and maybe it's because it's a tulip field. You know, if I was selling gravel, you know, maybe you don't get the same enjoyment.
Clientele. Oh, enjoyment.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone's showing up happy. Yeah,
Everyone's showing up happy.
versus gravel or something where it's like chore day
Right.
versus on your day out.
Yeah, you may have more customers who are not as you know willing or desire to be there, but with tulips, it's just they're a joy to be around.
Do you have places around town that you put the tulips to sell, or you're just that's not your thing?
No, not my thing.
Yeah.
My wife's thing.
Yeah. Do you have you and your wife? Do you have tulips in the house?
We got them right now in the house.
Okay.
Yeah, we're picking all the early ones.
I think that means something.
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, you actually like flowers.
Well, yeah.
Obviously.
I mean,
You still like them too. That's,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
my wife loves tulips. Mm-hmm. This is her tulip farm. Mm-hmm. I enjoy tulips, but I could be growing anything and be happy.
You just like being on the tractor?
Yeah, I like being in the tractor. I like being in the dirt and, enjoying that lifestyle. I've grown to really appreciate tulips. I mean, I didn't, when I was 5 years old, didn't like wish to be a tulip farmer or a flower farmer. Mm-hmm. Like, if out of all the things I could grow, I want to grow. I would have gotten beat up if I, expressed that as a 5 or 6 year old.
Mm-hmm. I want to be a tulip farmer. I want to grow flowers. Yeah.
No, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoy the flowers. Thoroughly enjoy them.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Let's back up. So that's the arc of that. I asked you the question: how does a banker become a flower farmer? Mm-hmm. How does one get to Dayton and become a banker? What's your story as far as entry point into Dayton and Ray County?
That's not interesting at all, Justice.
Well, I know that we at least have one touch point here, Bryan College, right?
Yeah, no, I'll tell you. It's very simple. Met my wife at Bryan. Mm-hmm. When she graduated from Bryan back in '97, we got married, moved to Birmingham, had a buddy who worked at AmSouth Bank, and I got on at AmSouth after a couple of jobs before that. I did work at a restaurant called Gentleman Farmer Restaurant in Chattanooga while I was in school here. And I had a write-up in the Chattanooga Times said that restaurant made the best mashed potatoes, and I made those mashed potatoes.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So,
and
I've got
you're
that.
kind of a gentleman farmer.
I've got that. Yeah, I'm a gentleman farmer.
So that connects too.
That's how we know. I just got into banking. It's a great career. Mm-hmm. It's supported my family, and it's enjoyed it, and we'll continue to enjoy it. But tulip farming is kind of what I really really enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you were in Birmingham. When did you move? Why did you move back to Dayton? Or why did you move to Dayton, having graduated and moved to Birmingham?
Moved back to Dayton the reason we moved back to Dayton from Birmingham was we started having kids. And my sister was up here, and they were starting to have kids, and we didn't have any family in Birmingham. And we just wanted the cousins to kind of get to know each other and be around. And I just transferred with AmSouth up to Tennessee.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So, and then I've been here.
Never looked
since.
back. I assume this is how it was with me. We graduated moved to Atlanta where I have family, moved back when we started having kids. So it's kind of similar in a lot of ways. And once we got back, it was like, yes, it's like this is definitely the right spot.
Oh yeah, this is for raising kids, especially. Love it. Just the nature that we have around here, the hiking trails, which my wife and I thoroughly enjoy hiking. The hiking trails, just the outdoor, activities. It just which you can't find that in Florida, St. Pete, where I grew up. You can't find it really in Ohio, where she grew up, my wife. But you're within a couple hours drive of some of the most beautiful mountains, in the country, and you're 15 minutes from some of the prettiest creeks pocket in the country, as far as I'm concerned.
Pocket definitely is maybe the jewel, but all up and down the Cumberland Plateau.
Yeah.
I think I talked to you about it. I've been hiking down at the Roaring Creek Trailhead in Graysville. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. It's like, I knew Pocket was great.
Yeah.
Well, the difficult thing about Pocket now is, so I love that they paved it.
I haven't been up there since they paved it.
I literally drove up with the girls. We didn't even get out. I just want to see the road. Drove up. It is immaculate. I cannot overstate how perfect that road is.
Yeah.
It is just awesome. Black asphalt the whole way, super smooth. And then they even paved the parking area.
Really?
In asphalt.
Okay.
I drove up just to drive on the road. I think it was a Saturday, so there's that. Or maybe it was a Friday. Anyway, I got up there. There's not a single available spot.
Yeah.
Slammed.
Right.
Absolutely slammed.
Yeah. Parking's minimal.
Yeah. So my main point being, everyone loves Pocket, and rightly so, but there are multiple trailheads all up and down the Cumberland Plateau that are, it's like, this is really great too, frankly. I think I'm going to end up talking to the Savannah, I think is her name. She runs the Cumberland Trail Association.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see what they're working on and what their plans are and her perspective on it.
Yeah, we're excited. Chris and I are excited about that trail fully connecting.
Yes.
And maybe one day we'll through hike the entire trail. I would like to do that.
That'd be amazing. It's as pretty as it gets, really.
Yeah.
It's like, what more could you ask for?
Right.
It really is. You're just in there. You're like, oh my goodness. It almost feels like a Lord of the Rings set or something.
Yeah.
Like it's so dramatic. The landscape is so dramatic.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that you have plans to hike the Appalachian Trail eventually one day.
Yeah.
You still want to do that?
Well, we intend to do that. We would love to do that. It's something I would do when I'm no longer obviously at the bank.
Okay.
But we would enjoy hiking from Georgia to Maine. You can do it in 5 months, and it's actually not as big. It sounds like it's a pretty big thing, but it's really not. I mean, you can get in every 4 miles. There's a road typically, so you can you could actually go to a hotel once a week, freshen up, eat at a restaurant, as long as you enjoy, hiking and sleeping in a tent for 5 days, 6 days, which my wife and I do. It'd be fun.
That sounds great.
I don't know if we'll do it. I mean, my wife intends to do it for sure without me. So, yeah, but I would do it with her.
Yeah, that sounds
She's
great.
real. I enjoy hiking, but she's really the one who loves hiking.
Yeah.
Like she's another level of enjoyment. So we can be hiking for, 4 or 5 days, and she can get sick to her stomach and just be like, oh man, this is rough. And I'm like, well, let's go home and call it a day. No, she'll just keep moving, keep going until she gets over it.
Yeah.
So I would probably go home if I was, at that point.
This is
Yeah.
yeah.
But so yeah, we love seeing the outdoors.
I wonder how much potential there is in the Cumberland Trail to kind of make a name for itself in the way that the Appalachian Trail has.
I think there's certainly potential for a small piece of that. Yeah. I mean, the AT has something special, there that connecting, Georgia to Maine. It'd be hard to compete against.
Yeah.
But you're going to get, I think the Cumberland will certainly find its place in the archive of great trails, in the history of great trails, when you can look at the Sequatchie Valley, and yeah.
Yeah. What would you say? You're obviously super into hiking. If you've got the Appalachian Trail AT way up here, is there a clear second, third place? What else is on that tier or just below?
Well, for us to want to hike,
Sure.
we definitely want to hike the John Muir Trail, which is on the Pacific Crest Trail, if I'm not mistaken. It's just you have to apply for permits.
Really?
You may not get called back. We've put our application in. We've not. It's like a lottery system.
Is that just to keep the traffic down?
Yeah, probably. You're hiking in there through glaciers and the mountains, and the scenery is incredible. I've only seen it on the YouTube.
Yeah.
But if one day we're lucky enough to get picked, then we'll definitely do that. It's like a 200-mile hike, I think.
Oh, yeah. So, not even that much.
Yeah.
Just really unique.
Yeah, really unique.
What is it about Dayton that makes it so wonderful? And as Dayton grows, including with businesses like your own that bring in a lot of people, what is it about Dayton that makes it great? And what do we need to do to keep that part there, but also grow into the best version of itself?
So what is it that makes Dayton great? Well, that doesn't need to have a lot of thought. Again, it's the people. It's the community. And I've experienced that when our farm brings in, several 100,000 at a time. And they're not all from Dayton, but I'll say a large portion of them are. They're just fantastic. So I think there's a strong community mindset here. And that is something you don't see everywhere. I just love, a lot of our politicians. I saw the interview with Hurley, and that was good. They're I can't say a bad thing about any of them. I wouldn't anyway. But I'm not. I'm not running for office, so
Right.
maybe I would say something bad if I was.
If you were running, you'd find
maybe I would
something to
find
say.
something bad, yeah.
I'm sure you could find something.
It's just a great community. So the people, number one, I like Dayton because although I like having growth, I like seeing growth in a community. We're kind of inhibited in this town, in this county, because we got the mountains on one side,
Yeah.
we got the river on the other. So we're kind of like
Kind of like
managed.
Chattanooga.
Yeah.
There's a
So
tight space.
It's a tight space, so we can grow it as to where not. I mean, I'm not going to grow it, but it can be grown to a good size. But I think it can be managed well because it's just not flat land.
Yeah.
You get into areas that are just flat. Well, you're going to have everything just pop up. Nothing's going to probably look right. It's just going to kind of be, just thrown together.
It's Atlanta. It's exactly what Atlanta is.
Yep. So I think
Sorry,
we're.
Atlanta. I'm from there, so
Are you?
I can get pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's just like the same thing. If you drive from one side to the other side, it basically just starts to feel like a loop. On old black and white movies. They've got a loop of the same trees going on back there.
Yeah.
So the same strip centers. And it's just and mainly I'm saying there's no geological or topological push or restriction.
Right.
It's just, and that's why they picked it. They picked it initially. It was terminus. It was a railroad intersection. They were like, where is an easy place that can grow easily, it's flat, and we can bring all the commerce of the Southeast. This is the hub.
Yeah.
And we're collecting all the agriculture and the commerce, and we're distributing it to the ports.
Yeah.
What's the best place to do that?
Well, it works.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
And it did work, and it worked for what it was meant to. But it's not. It doesn't have the kind of creativity that restriction demands.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of.
Yeah, and if you like big cities, I'm sure Atlanta's great. I'm just not a big city person.
Right.
I mean, I grew up in St. Petersburg, and that's not a big city, but it's concrete and it's buildings everywhere you go.
Yeah.
You know, there's a million people in Pinellas County, and I still have a lot of friends down there, and they're having a good time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's, and I enjoy visiting Florida, and I enjoy their activities and fishing, and getting sick on a boat, chartered boat, throwing up.
Who doesn't like that?
I know. Well, there's nothing worse than being seasick. But we enjoy doing that. But I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah. Well, that's what vacation's for.
Yeah.
Go to a place you want to be for a couple days.
Yep.
Which is perfect.
Yeah.
But Dayton is a place that I like to live.
Mm-hmm. You're a good man, Justice.
Y'all.
This is a good place to live.
Oh, shucks. It is. It's a great place to live. I've got very few complaints, and it's just cool to talk to people like you and get your perspective, get your story, and it's just great.
We hope to continue the farm and build it and bring more and more people in, and I don't know what crowds we're going to have this year. It could be 5 people. I mean, it could be 30,000. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So we're going to do everything we can to bring beauty and, an activity that families can enjoy. And
Whenever I think about the ways that I'd like to see Dayton grow, and there are disagreements about how much Dayton should grow and what should be included in its growth. But something like a flower farm that brings in people all across the community and out-of-towners to come pick flowers on a beautiful farm and take pictures and bring those flowers home. I don't know who's going to object to that. So I think you're doing really cool stuff. And I think that...
Well, that'd be a nasty person that objected to that.
They're out there. Where are you? Send your comments. Comment. If there's a comment place, YouTube is the place that will find that person.
Yeah.
So anyway, keep up the good work. It's stuff like that that's going to make Dayton grow in a beautiful way.
Well, I appreciate it. And again, my wife isn't here, but she's like the backbone of the farm. She's the one that, answers all the calls, plans it, designs it. I kind of just drive the tractor.
You're just the pretty face.
I'm just the looks. That's right.
All right. I'll be looking for you on the tractor.
All right.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah.